1 hour ago, Princess Leonor's arrival in Denmark stuns royal fans from Spain. A quiet runway, an expected arrival, but then, shock. Not just elegance, not just duty, something more, something no one in Denmark, or Spain, was ready for. Her Royal Highness Princess Leonor steps out, and everything changes. The air in Copenhagen was crisp, filled with anticipation. Crowds gathered outside the royal gates, unsure of what to expect, but certain that something historic was about to unfold. And then, within the hour, the moment arrived. The plane touched down. Spain's future queen, Leonor de Bourbon, Princess of Asturias, had come to Denmark. Not for ceremony, not for casual diplomacy, but for something that stunned even the most seasoned royal watchers. Royal fans from Spain, who had traveled overnight, waved their flags proudly. Danish citizens, curious and expectant, leaned forward for their first glimpse. But when the doors of the jet opened, what emerged was not simply a princess fulfilling her duties. It was a young woman radiating confidence, maturity, and presence far beyond her years. The first surprise came in her demeanor. Leonor, who had just turned 19, carried herself not as a student of military training, nor as a sheltered royal heir, but as a leader stepping into her destiny. And in that moment, the cameras captured it, the look, the grace, the unmistakable aura of a queen in the making. Why Denmark? Why now? That was the question rippling through the crowd, through Spanish media, through the walls of the Danish royal palace itself. Was this visit simply a diplomatic courtesy? Or was it something more intimate, something tied to the whispers of a growing bond between Spain and Denmark, between Leonor and Prince Christian himself? Every step Leonor took was studied. The way she greeted officials, the warmth in her smile, the way she paused to acknowledge Spanish fans who had followed her across borders, it was all deliberate, all powerful. But then, came the spark of the unexpected. Standing beside her, representatives of the Danish royal family greeted her with a familiarity that felt less like formality and more like family. Speculation deepened. Was this a prelude to something greater? A royal union that could reshape two monarchies? The images fed into the narrative, a future queen from Spain stepping gracefully into Denmark, a kingdom that had already become a second home to her through countless quiet visits. As the motorcade made its way from the airport to Amalienborg Palace, curiosity only grew. Along the route, fans pressed against barriers, their voices rising in cheers. For some, it was the simple thrill of seeing royalty. For others, it was something deeper, the sense that they were witnessing history unfold, a royal chapter beginning not in silence, but in public view. Inside the palace, the atmosphere was no less charged. Leonor's arrival had set the tone for an evening that would be remembered for years. Reports spoke of private conversations between her and Queen Margrethe, warm exchanges with Crown Prince Frederik, and, most notably, quiet but noticeable moments shared with Prince Christian. Each gesture, each look, each pause carried weight. But beyond romance, beyond speculation, there was something greater happening. Leonor was representing Spain, not just her family, not just her father King Felipe, but an entire nation watching with pride. And in her poise, her confidence, and her ability to connect with people, she demonstrated what many already suspected: she is ready. Ready for leadership. Ready for the crown. The reaction in Spain was immediate. Screens lit up with headlines. Leonor stuns Denmark. A future queen emerges. Commentators struggled to capture the moment. Was it diplomacy? Was it personal? Or was it a carefully choreographed message that Spain's heir is no longer just a princess learning the ropes, but a monarch in waiting, commanding respect on foreign soil? And the reaction in Denmark? Equally powerful. Danish fans, often accustomed to their own royal's quiet dignity, were caught off guard by Leonor's charisma. Children held out flowers. Older generations whispered of Queen Letitia's first visits abroad, and how history seemed to be repeating, but with a new fire, a new energy. As hours passed, the speculation refused to fade. Would there be a public dinner? Would Leonor appear side by side with Christian? Would a speech be made? Every unanswered question created another wave of fascination, another reason for the world to keep watching. And then, she appeared once more. This time, in the palace courtyard, beneath the Danish flag, standing tall as though she had belonged there all along. The symbolism was impossible to ignore. 2 kingdoms, 2 royal families, and 1 princess who, in just a few hours, had managed to captivate both. Royal fans across Europe were left in awe. Spanish commentators spoke of a new chapter. Danish media called it a stunning entrance. And for those who saw it live, it was unforgettable, the moment when a princess transformed before their eyes into the leader she was destined to be. But perhaps the most emotional reaction came from those closest to Spain's monarchy. Inside Madrid's Zarzuela Palace, King Felipe and Queen Letizia reportedly watched every broadcast, every image. Pride was written across their faces, but so too was the knowledge that their daughter's journey was no longer just theirs to guide. Leonor had stepped out into the world, and the world had embraced her. And yet, with all the admiration, one question lingered: what comes next? Was this visit the beginning of a deeper bond between Spain and Denmark, between Leonor and Christian? Or was it simply the moment when Spain's princess claimed her stage, making clear to Europe and beyond that she is ready for her destiny? As night fell over Copenhagen, fans outside the palace refused to disperse. They lingered, hoping for one last glimpse. One more wave. One more smile from the princess who had stunned them all. And for those who waited, Leonor did not disappoint. From a palace balcony, she appeared briefly, radiant under the golden lights, offering a wave that felt more like a promise. A promise of leadership. A promise of love. A promise of history still to be written. And as the crowd roared, the message was clear: Spain's future queen had arrived in Denmark. Not as a visitor, not as a girl in training, but as a woman stepping fully into her destiny. And so, just 1 hour ago, history was made. Princess Leonor's arrival in Denmark had not just stunned royal fans from Spain, it had captured the heart of Europe. And this is only the beginning.